All right, good evening. Welcome to the Falls Township Board of Supervisors meeting for Monday, June 15th. We'll start with a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Here we are again, our third Zoom meeting. Hopefully, if all goes as planned, our July meeting will be in the meeting room in person. Item number 1 on our agenda is public comment. Do we have any public comment, Kyle?
Yes, we have 2.
Okay.
Move it, Sandra.
Hello?
Hi, my name is Sandra Gartner, and I live on Wheat Chief Road in Falls Township. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, yes.
Great. So, Chairman Dent, I just wanted to call in and say thank you so much for all of your help with getting the radar speed sign on Wheat Chief Road. I really appreciate, the whole community appreciates that you moved really quickly on it. Last month I called and raised the issue, and sure enough, now we have a beautiful radar speed sign, and the street is completely different. It's a lot safer, and it's really great. So I just really I'd like to give credit where credit is due. So I thank you and the board for moving quickly, and Lieutenant Whitney for moving quickly on that. And that's it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. You know, that was a street that was targeted a couple years ago by the Neighborhood Traffic Advisory Council. They did traffic studies down there. The evidence was there that it was definitely a major speeding problem. We did some enforcement down there and wrote a whole bunch of tickets. When the temporary sign was out there, we knew it worked. And then, the permanent one just makes sense. So you're very welcome.
Thanks. And happy Father's Day to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good meeting. Bye-bye.
All right.
Do we have to take roll, Mr. Dents?
We do have to take roll, and I apologize for that. Mrs. Pullen, can you call the roll?
Have I been calling the roll?
Yes. Go ahead, Mr. Rocco.
Okay, Jeff Dents.
Here.
Jeff Brasky.
Here.
Jeff Rocco, here. Brian Galloway.
Here.
John Palmer.
Here.
Apologize. We're still not used to the Zoom stuff. I believe, Kyle, you said there's one more public comment?
Yes, we have Tony now.
Hello, Tony. Hello, Tony.
Hello, are you there?
Yes, we're here.
Okay.
How are you?
First off, are you live streaming this on YouTube or not?
Yes.
Okay, because I couldn't find it. But anyhow, I understand there's a hearing scheduled in front of Judge Baldy regarding Elcon on Friday the 17th. Is there anything else that's going on?
Friday the 17th of July. No, there's nothing else going on. Once we have more information, we'll have an update on the website and
okay.
Social media.
Thank you. As far as the zoning permit fees, have you consulted with the Bucks County Organization of Realtors, Association of Realtors on that yet?
Have we done that, Mr. Takita?
No, we have not. And the only thing we're requesting today is just authorization to advertise.
Right.
Or no, I apologize. I was thinking about a zoning ordinance amendment. We have not asked. We did not inquire with them. However, this is in response to a number of inquiries we did receive from different realtors and their concerns with how intensive a letter of intent is in getting that application in and the fees involved with that.
Okay, it's just that I'm thinking $80 is going to be a bit of a hardship for a lot of them. Going on to some other stuff, and that's mostly about the Stalwart project. And I want to know what is going to be stored at the warehouses that require so many truck bays. And is anything going to be produced or manufactured there? And being that it's so close to the river in Biles Island, there's a concern for any leakage that might be in whatever's going to be warehoused there will the township have any safeguards in place or legal assurances that whatever's being warehoused is not toxic and that there's nothing that could conceivably contaminate the drinking water which the river supplies?
We
There's
don't
also-
know at this point, it's just a sketch drawing that they're coming before us with and an idea to get some feedback from us to see if it's something that we would even be in support of. So I don't even think that they have a tenant. They may have someone in mind. But should they move forward with this project, then of course there would be a lot of township ordinances they'd have to comply with. They can't just store toxic chemicals in there. And it would just be a warehouse site. There won't be manufacturing of any kind down there. Unless something changes between now and when they actually come with a plan moving forward.
Okay, because I also understand they're going to need water and sewage, and that Morrisville was having difficulties supplying some of that previously.
Yeah.
And also the trucking seems to be that there's going to be looks like a lot of trucks because you have a lot of truck space in there. And if they're South Pennsylvania Avenue, I know the people in South Pennsylvania Avenue have previously complained about the trucks going up and down South Pennsylvania Avenue.
If this plan were to move forward, that's going to be their biggest issue we've already talked about is traffic. So I would imagine whatever traffic if it ever did come in and out, it would have to come from Tyburn Road. It wouldn't be coming down all the way down to Pennsylvania Avenue for sure.
Well, that's what it looks like on their map.
I didn't see that on their map.
Probably.
On their map and what we let them do are two different things. Anything
But
else?
anyhow,
I can clarify the traffic, Mr. Chairman. There's two maps. One map shows the regular automobile traffic going both ways, but the truck route map shows the truck route being as the chairman described.
On coming from Tyburn Road.
Yeah, it goes down Tyburn.
We can control the truck traffic. We can't really control automobiles. We can't tell them how to drive. We can limit where the trucks go, just like we do trash trucks. Yeah, that's great. You still there, Tony?
yeah, that was all the questions they pretty much had.
Okay.
Something else comes up.
So our next meeting will when will our next meeting be? The 20th, right? Of July?
Yes.
It would be after the hearing, but it would be right after. So we'll hopefully have an update, if anything at all, then.
Okay, thank you.
All right, have a good night. Kyle, any more public comment needed?
No.
Okay, we're going to move on to item number 2, which is a project discussion for Stallwater, 200 Pennsylvania Avenue. Can you walk us through this, Mr.
Let me introduce everybody on the team. Jessica Rice works with me at Fox Rothschild. Ken Wattsman is with Stallwater, the applicant, as is Yako Steele. From Mazer Engineering is Yosef Portney, who is the civil engineer on the project, and Jeff York is the traffic engineer. We have submitted to you a packet of information. Hopefully you've all received it to make this Zoom presentation a little bit easier for everybody. We have a 3-page outline that is a summary of our proposal. And then we have a series of exhibits that you can follow along if everybody has it in front of them. We also have a colored rendered site plan that actually just came through today that we'll put up on the screen as well, because I think it tells the best story when you see that. Just by way of brief background, if you're following along the proposal, the subject properties are all identified. The Solvay parcel is the main property of approximately 85 acres. There are several other parcels There are 2 small parcels along South Pennsylvania Avenue that are vacant land, just under an acre, that were purchased to provide better access out to South Pennsylvania Avenue for the proposed trucks. And a portion of the Rogers Foam parcel, the actual rear and side of the parcel, which is vacant land, is being purchased for the sole purpose of obtaining access out to East Post Road. We have attached as Exhibit A an existing features plan, and we've attached as Exhibit B an aerial plan that shows the area surrounding this property, including the Delaware River and a variety of industrial, commercial, and residential properties between the subject property and Pennsylvania Avenue. The current zoning of this property is RD1, Riverfront District Section 1, and it permits a variety of residential and commercial and service uses on the property. And we've attached as Exhibit C the zoning map. Stalwart is proposing to redevelop the property with a warehouse building consisting of approximately 916,000 square feet, give or take, with adjacent truck loading bays that are typically found in warehouse buildings of this nature, as well as parking spaces for vehicles of approximately 570 for the individuals that would be working here at the warehouse. We have 2 access points to the property: the existing South Pennsylvania Avenue, which would be widened, and Jeff will talk about the truck routes in a minute. And we feel we should have obtained, and we have obtained, a second access on East Post Road for cars, not for trucks. So I'm going to have Samuel from the applicant just give a quick overview of his company and the type of work that they do. And then Yosef's going to talk about the site plan and how he laid it out the way he did. Jeff will then talk about the traffic impacts, the work that's been done to date, the proposed truck and car routes, and then we'll circle back and talk about some of the environmental impacts with you and run through that for the exhibits we have attached. Mr. Chairman, if that's okay.
Yes, that's okay.
Samuel, why don't you introduce yourself and tell the board about your company and what it is you're proposing on this property.
Okay, hi. My name is Samuel Waxman. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay. I'm with Stalwart Equities. We're a industrial development company. We've done multiple developments in central Jersey and northern New Jersey. We're under contract for this site, which we are from Solvay and the adjacent sites. And our intent is to develop a 900 and change thousand square foot distribution facility. So the building will be used mainly for storage. Product will be coming in and then distributed to either to New Jersey or the Philadelphia market.
Samuel, just right up front, let's confirm there will be no storage of toxic chemicals on this.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
And also
no hazardous materials at all.
Okay. And in terms of the users, obviously it could be used for one large user or it could be broken up, correct, into multiple users?
Correct.
And you haven't identified a user yet, have you?
I have not. I mean, we are too early in the process to go out to market, but typically these modern Class A warehouses are used by national companies, credit tenants who, have a clean process.
And primarily, they're bringing product in bulk into this warehouse, and then they're shipping it back out to smaller trucks for either local deliveries or local distribution. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that's a pretty popular and in-demand request now with the new deliveries and warehousing that's going on.
Absolutely.
Good. And we've attached architectural plans that we marked as Exhibit E. You haven't finished the architectural here, but those plans represent an example of the type of building that you're proposing here.
Correct. We typically like to design buildings to be attractive and appealing, even though they, as much they can be as a warehouse. And we've shown that in the renderings we've provided.
Okay. Joseph, you've done the civil work. You're the engineer on the project, and can you explain to the board how you laid out the site in the manner you did and the constraining factors that you had that you attempted to address with the layout?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Let me see if I'm able to share screens here to put up some of the exhibit.
You can put that color site plan up. That's a good one.
Okay. Are you able to see this now?
Yes.
I can, yes.
Okay, this was included in the package. This is a aerial exhibit showing the existing conditions. The red border shows the full site with all of the parcels. As noted, the largest, the central area is the Salve parcel, the former industrial facility that's now vacant. Access is off of a driveway labeled on Google as 10th Street, off of South Pennsylvania Avenue. As discussed, the client has gone to contract in additional properties. The existing frontage is about 40 feet. They've purchased gone to contract another 200 feet worth of frontage. This way they'll be able to construct a suitable access that accommodate truck circulation and be able to work with PennDOT and the town any requirements. They've also gone to contract on the east side. There is the Rogers Foam factory plant on East Post Road. So they would be purchasing a portion of that property, give an additional access as noted that will be restricted to passenger vehicles and emergency access and will not be used for trucks. Properties is on the Delaware River. Portions of it are in floodplains of the river. And that's one of the factors that we've gone into design. Here, let me just propose. Here's our proposed conditions map. We've situated the development over the existing industrial plant. We've buffered the project will be buffered from the residential and commercials on South Pennsylvania Avenue. We've adjusted we've moved over the driveway in order to provide a more central driveway and also provide buffering from adjacent properties. We've
Joseph, let me ask you just one of the questions. You mentioned the floodplain. No portion of the development site is located in the floodway, correct?
The entire development is out of the floodway. We are actually pulling the proposed building will be elevated above the flood a minimum 1 foot above the flood elevation. And as part of this application, we would obviously comply with any of the the township flood control ordinances, and any FEMA regulations to ensure that the building is constructed safe and will not have an impact to adjacent properties.
Good. And I think this site plan depicts the proposed layout, even though it has not yet been fully engineered. This is what's contemplated in terms of the layout and the stormwater facilities and the access, correct?
Correct. As of now, we've just done this a two-dimensional sort of like concept plan. And for stormwater, like this demonstrate, we're going to try to expand existing basins. We assume we construct new basin as shown on the plan as well, and all that will go through the full design and approval process should this meet should the town be in favor.
And Joseph, you've laid out the truck bays as is typical for a warehouse on both sides of the building, correct?
Correct.
And then there's also overflow truck parking as well for trucks to wait before they pull into their bay?
Yes, there are truck bays opposite each of the loading docks. There's truck bays, and then there's additional trailer parking south of the building.
Good.
Located conceptually, we have office laid out in the four corners, office space in the four corners of the building, subject to final architectural design, and we have parking located on either side of the building. More past.
Let's, Jeff, if you could jump in now and talk about these two exhibits, Exhibit G and H, because we all know that traffic, particularly truck traffic, is always a big question or issue. And you heard the chairman earlier talk about Highborn Road serving as the available route for truck traffic. So if you could walk the board through, the roadway system and the work you've done so far and what's being proposed for particularly truck routes to and from the property.
Sure. I'll go over the exhibits and then I'll get into a bit of a discussion of the conversations we've had with both PennDOT as well as the Township Traffic Consultant, Remington and Vernick. So before you is Exhibit G. It's Passenger Vehicle Circulation Plan. And it shows how to get in and out of the site regionally. There's really one or two ways I think traffic's going to arrive and depart from here. It's either to the north at Route 1 or to the west from Route 13. If they're coming from Route 1, they could get off the Morrisville exit and travel south down South Pennsylvania Avenue. The cars could turn in at Post Road, or they could turn in at our main access along South Pennsylvania Avenue. Any vehicle, cars coming from Route 13 would travel Tyburn Road to the east till it hits South Pennsylvania Avenue and then travel north to the side access. So that's the car one. Joseph, if you want to scroll down to the next one, this is the truck. There is a truck restriction in Morrisville along South Pennsylvania Avenue. So we are proposing the truck route to come from Route 13. I think that's where most of the trucks come anyway, because Route 13 provides access to Route 1, provides access to the Pennsylvania Turnpike regionally. So trucks would get off Route 13 at Tyburn Road, travel east to South Pennsylvania Avenue, and then go to the main access that's along South Pennsylvania Avenue. We would propose regionalized signage exiting the driveway to direct all truck traffic to make a left turn out to go back to Route 13 and via Route 1 and then the Pennsylvania Turnpike that way. So those are the basically in a nutshell the regional routings on how traffic, both automobile and truck traffic, would access the site. Now we have had conversations with PennDOT to date. What we did is we submitted a scoping submission, which is kind of step one when you go for a highway occupancy permit with the department. And that's what basically we submit to establish our study area or what intersections we're going to study as part of the traffic study. So we made a submission to PennDOT. They responded to us And the intersections they want analyzed are Tyburn Road and New Ford Mill Road. They want South Pennsylvania Avenue with Post Ave Road, South Pennsylvania Avenue with Philadelphia Avenue, and South Pennsylvania Avenue with the Route 1 northbound ramp signalized intersection. So those are the 4 intersections that we'll be studying. We've provided all of this information to Remington and Vernick, as well as a copy of our trip distributions and our traffic calculations. So those are under review by Remington and Vernick. They've been approved by PennDOT, but we also want to get the Township traffic consultant's blessing prior to moving forward fully with the traffic study.
I'll add also on to Jeff that we will, as part of our site design, the geometry of the driveway will be designed to direct the trucks to make left turns and restrict the movements, right turn movement onto South Pennsylvania Avenue.
Good. The next item we want to bring up is a proposed text amendment. We've included with your submission a draft text amendment that would allow the warehouse use in the RD zoning district subject to certain requirements. And we've set that forth in a draft for review by the township. That's an overview of what we're proposing here. We've done some work to date, but I think we've taken it pretty much as far as we can to get the background before we can get input from the Board of Supervisors and the Planning Commission and the public. So that's why we've started tonight, Mr. Chairman, to give you this overview and to receive any feedback from the board and hopefully continue to work with the Planning Commission, Township staff, and the public and further refine this proposed plan. I will tell you, we've done a preliminary revenue study by a land planner. We'll be submitting that to the township. This project, when constructed, would generate approximately $963,000 in real estate taxes per year to the Pennsbury School District. It would generate approximately $41,000 in real estate taxes to the township and another $33,000 in annual local service tax revenue. So between the township and the school district and the county, it will and is proposed to generate in excess of $1 million per year in tax revenue. There'll be very little services that are needed. It's all private facilities, and we will likely have approximately 500 employees on site. So we'll also generate jobs primarily for the community where that hiring will take place. So there is some good economic benefits that will accrue from this project. That's the overview, Mr. Chairman. We certainly would welcome your input or any questions you have about the project.
All right, thank you. I guess you're just looking to find out what we feel about this tonight. I guess we'll start with some questions from the board. Mr. Rocco, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I think as Chairman Dent said, the traffic is obviously a concern. Do you have any idea on the number of trucks per day and what that hours of operation would be?
Jeff, why don't you go over what, I know we don't have a tenant yet, but why don't you explain the ITE numbers that you use to make those projections?
Right. So to project the amount of traffic generated by the site, we use the square footage of the building. Obviously, the bigger the building, the more traffic you're going to generate. Using the ITE trip generation manual, which is what PennDOT instructs us to utilize, you're going to generate about 700 vehicles a day. About 20 to 30% of that would be truck traffic. So you're looking along the lines of 150 to 200 trucks over a course of a full day. Again, we don't have a tenant at this time, but one thing PennDOT does require, and they require this throughout the state for just about every kind of warehouse application, is as a condition of the highway occupancy permit, 6 months after the project is open and up and running, they require a post-study done. So we have to check our numbers. And then if we find out that, the numbers are underestimated or additional mitigations is needed throughout the study area, it's our responsibility to provide those upgrades.
Okay. Do you think that there's going to be a need for a light at Pennsylvania Avenue?
And our site access?
Yeah. Not for the cars, but for the trucks, yeah.
Based on the volume alone, I don't believe we would meet a signal warrant.
Okay. Did I hear that you've built, I apologize, I can't remember who presented, but is there other warehouses that you guys have done?
Samuel?
Samuel, that's it.
I'm sorry, Samuel. Yeah, so we've done in northern New Jersey. We have a project in Woodbridge, and in Richfield we're currently working on.
Okay, who's your client in Woodbridge?
So we still don't have a client yet. It's also still it's a build to suit. We have a project in Long Island where we're dealing with Walmart.
Walmart, okay. Mr. Clark, I don't think we've done any text amendments prior. Did I recall?
We have not. This would be the first one we would be doing since I've been here beginning in 2002.
Wow, okay. All right, so that's something we have to talk through for sure.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's all the questions I have at this time. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just add that the text amendment does give you the ability to insert provisions to address concerns you have with the project. And so, we took a crack at a first draft, but we're certainly open to input from the township to work on that to ensure that we deliver what we're promising to deliver.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Palmer, any questions or comments?
Yeah, I just want to check to see, Mr. Rocco answered or asked a lot of them, but I had a question for hours of operation. What do you foresee in hours of operation? 2 shifts, 3 shifts?
Samuel, so in the other warehouses that you've been involved with, what are you finding like a Walmart? What are they looking for in terms of hours of operation and numbers of shifts? Are you there, Samuel? You might be on mute.
I think he just might have dropped out. Hold on.
Well, he'll be dialing back in. We'll Mr. Palmer, we'll hold that. Certainly a good question. We can certainly look at some of the other facilities and see what the proposal is, but we do need to offer any of the tenants the ability to operate 3 shifts if they deem it necessary for purposes of their trade. We suspect that some will take advantage and look for that, and others will not. So at this point, we don't have a tenant, and we don't feel we'll be able to land one until we get the project further along in terms of the approval process. But that's certainly something we can get you some more information on.
Great. That's all I have for now.
Okay. Mr. Boraski?
Just one question. In one of the exhibits, it might have been D, we looked at the architectural plans, and they show offices in all 4 corners. Is it possible that we could have more than one tenant, or is this something that's standard when you're dealing with a logistics type of hub?
Well, honestly, we would hope for one tenant. Everyone would love to have one tenant to sign and take the entire building. We've just basically prepared for 4 separate tenants here by allowing office in every corner. But unfortunately, we won't know the answer to that until we market it and we see what the user interest is. We might find a user that only wants 500,000 square feet and they want the option to expand later, we might find a user that is good with half the building and we can then sublet out the remainder. It unfortunately is a to be determined, but our perfect ideal tenant would take the entire building and they would consolidate the office in the one corner there in the lower left.
Okay. And I do apologize if I missed this and we did discuss it, but we were awfully close to the river and we talked a lot about not being in the flood area. How high is that area, that end of the building to get you out of that?
So Joseph, why don't you talk about the floodplain and the building and how you get that out of the floodplain in your design?
Okay, the existing site is partially in the floodplain. The existing industrial site, so that roughly that footprint was already out, and some other additional portions, they've already, I guess, were already elevated. So we would be elevating the rest of this footprint above. So there would be some earthwork. We've reviewed that preliminarily, and it looks like we can accomplish that with balancing the site by just relocating the high points of the site to be able to keep this footprint out of the floodplain.
And you'll do a full floodplain study in accordance with the township ordinance to confirm that lift of the 1 foot. Is that what you're saying? 1 foot above?
Correct. We're going, the finished floor of the building will be a 1 foot above. And we would do analysis to demonstrate that putting that building in there would not have an impact. Would not cause a rise that could potentially impact any other property.
Mr. Jones, can you hear what's going on, what they're explaining? Do you have any concerns?
No, I would just correct Joseph that the finished grade of the floor would have to be 1.5 feet above the floodplain per our regulations, but these are details that would be worked out through the full engineering process. A lot of the site is in the floodplain. There most likely would be some fill, I would think, at a glance. They know the plans better than I do, but I would expect to see some. So we would look like we do on similar projects as to how they apply that fill and the quantity of it. And all that would be outlined in our review that you would have access to during the development process.
Okay. And I, just lastly, it's more of a comment, good luck to you guys and, in getting through this, finding a potential client and tenant. That property's been vacant as far back as I can remember. And it'll be really great to see, get that tax revenue and that tax base and, see someone occupy that property and do it the right way. And your drawings clearly look, are pretty impressive. So good luck to you guys. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Mr. Galloway, any comment from you?
Just to echo what Mr. Brasky just said, the project looks very promising, and I'm glad it's warehouse and not manufacturer, and it would be a good thing for a tax base. So good luck to them. Thank you.
Thank
You. Everybody else covered most of my concerns. I think the biggest problem you're going to have is the traffic coming from Tyburn Road. I don't know if you've driven that area, but taking that ramp from Tyburn to Pennsylvania Avenue is a brutal turn. I imagine you have to redesign and rebuild that whole on and off there. But, it's a nice looking project and it's a good site. I mean, it's just shy of 1 million square feet, which is huge. I'm an electrician. I've worked in several million square foot buildings like an Amazon warehouse. So you'd be surprised that the truck traffic is very manageable in those places, as big as they are, and as many truck bases they have coming in and out. It's not like a constant trail of trucks coming up and down the road, from my experience anyway. So we look forward to you guys coming back, hopefully, with a plan moving forward. I don't know if there's anything else you need from us tonight.
I think that's what we were looking for. If, Mr. Chairman, can we then proceed to continue to work with your township staff and then visit with your planning commission as to this proposed text amendment ordinance? And eventually we would need to come back before you to request your authorization to advertise it so we could have a hearing on it. But we like to work on the details with township staff and the planning commission.
Yes, absolutely. One more comment I'm going to make is the current site, if people aren't familiar with it, they keep talking about the floodplain. The current site is literally on the river, is the bank of the river. So whatever they're doing is a major improvement to what's there now. And lastly, Kyle, is there any public comment needed tonight?
No comment.
All right, good. All right, that's it then. Thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, item number 3, Township Insurance Policy for the period of June 18th, 2020 through June 18th, 2021. Mr. Takita, do you want to take us through this?
Yes, the board is being asked to consider renewal of the township insurance policy for the period June 18th, 2020 to June 18, 2021. We have Chris Vaughn and Ann with Vaughn Insurance here to answer any questions you may have.
Hello, ladies.
Good evening.
Good evening. So I guess this is just covering this is our traveler's insurance, correct?
Yes.
Covering everything for the township. And it's a $21,000 increase from last year. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And what was our increase last year? It wasn't quite as much, right?
The increase last year was about 15,000.
Okay. We have any questions from board members? Mr. Boraski?
No question.
Mr. Palmer?
No questions.
Mr. Galloway?
No questions.
Mr. Rocco?
Yeah, just one. Looks like we had gotten 2 quotes this year, Chris? Or Ann?
Actually, we got 2 quotes and an indication from Great American. We got a quote from Travelers, of course. We did get a quote from Liberty Mutual and an indication from Great American. Their indication was about $100,000 higher than Travelers' renewal number, so I didn't pursue it.
Right. Who was that? Liberty that was higher? 100 higher?
No, Liberty's number was about 345,000, which is very close to what Travelers was. They, however, had a $10,000 property deductible rather than $5,000, and they also attached a $5,000 deductible to the abuse coverage liability.
Okay. All right. In the past, I've always wanted more than 1 quote, so thank you. I know it's not easy to get, but thank you.
All right.
You're welcome.
We've had Travelers for a while, right? We've been using them for years now.
Yes, many years. I think 2015 we had gone to Brit, but came back for various reasons. The major one was claims handling, and the satisfaction that you had with Travelers as far as the claims handling was concerned.
All right, thank you very much. I know we've had some unique claims here in Falls Township, but the one thing that comes to mind is that boat ramp, which is always interesting. But so the total premium we're looking at, and we're approving this tonight, is that correct, Mr. Takita?
That's correct.
Total amount is $348,494. Is there a motion?
I make that motion.
Second.
All right, Mr. Rocco, you pull the board.
Jeff Boraski?
Yes.
I'm a yes. John Palmer?
Yes.
Brian Galloway?
Yes.
Jeff Dents?
Yes. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
I'm sorry, I should have asked if there was public comment. I assume there wasn't, Kyle?
No comment.
All right. Agenda item number 4. Consider the township manager to finalize the award bid for the 2020 road improvement program. Mr. Tequita.
The board is being asked to consider allowing the interim township manager to finalize the award for the 2020 road program. This is, of course, is contingent upon successful outcome of JEA's responsible contractor review.
All right. Any questions from board members? We good?
Good. I'm good.
Good.
All right. Is there a motion to direct the interim township manager to award the contract?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Rocco?
Mr. Boraski.
Yes.
I'm a yes. John Palmer.
Yes.
Ryan Galloway
Yes.
and Jeff Dents.
Yes. All right. Item number 5, ratification of the declaration of emergency from May 22nd, May 29th, June 5th, and June 12th. The declaration of emergency from the COVID-19 is still in effect, and we just need to ratify that. I guess it's pretty cut and dry. We can do all 4 dates at once, right, Mr. Clark? You're muted.
Yes, you can.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the ratification of the declaration of emergency for the 4 dates I mentioned?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Rocco?
Jeff Boraski.
Yes.
I'm a yes. John Palmer.
Yes.
Ryan Galloway
Yes.
and Jeff Dents.
Yes. Agenda item number 6. Consider amending the 2020 fee schedule for code, fire, and parks and rec. Mr. Tequita.
The board is being asked to consider amending the 2020 fee schedule to include a new permit application called the zoning certification fee or zoning certification. The fee for that would be $80. This is a response to a number of requests we've been getting from realtors on just zoning and use of a property that would not necessitate the need for all the paperwork and inspections that would be required under a letter of intent. Right now, minimum fee for a letter of intent is $255, and there's other agencies that need to review and approve this letter of intent, so that the process is considerably longer, they're more arduous than the zoning certification. The other amendment would be an earth disturbance application. Currently, we have a $2,000 escrow for earth disturbance. That's cost prohibitive for most minor residential projects. We're looking to create a new subset, which would be a residential earth disturbance, with the fee, escrow being $500. That fee was reviewed with the Jones Engineering, and it would cover the cost of most minor residential projects.
Any questions for Mr. Tequita? Board members, anyone?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, whoever was working on part 12 earth disturbance, I do really appreciate that. That's something as supervisors we hear all the time from residents trying to do things at their houses, simple, mostly involving in-ground pools. So to get that lowered to $500 is really a good thing for the township.
Yeah, so Matt, that is an in-ground pool. Is that considered minor?
Yeah, so that would include the in-ground pool and above ground.
This zoning certification fee, is that something that is common in other municipalities?
Yes, yeah. In Bensalem, Bristol, I believe, has the same process as well.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's in other municipalities that we represent. It's a standard, pretty standard.
That's good.
So I know that Mrs. Batiste questioned that. So we're actually saving realtors money by lowering the fee to $80, correct?
Yes, and also reducing the amount of time it would take to get a response.
Right. All right. Any other questions or comments? there any, you all right there, Mr. Boraski?
I'm good.
Public comment needed?
No comment.
All right, and we're doing this by resolution, Mr. Clark?
Yes. We always do the fee schedule by resolution.
Mr. Takita, do you know what resolution number this will be?
Yes.
Is it-
Resolution number is 2020-17. And you double check that number.
Is anything else in this packet changing? Any of the park and rec fees?
No other fees are being changed under this resolution.
Thank you.
All right, is there a motion to approve resolution number 2020-17?
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Rocco?
Jeff Boraski?
Yes.
I'm a yes. John Palmer?
Yes.
Brian Galloway?
Yes.
Jeff Dents?
Yes. All right, item number 8 was, oh wait. Item 7, I'm sorry. Consider the employment agreement between Matthew Takita to serve as Township Manager and the Director of the Building and Code Enforcement Department and Zoning Officer. As everyone knows, Mr. Gray left earlier this year, and Mr. Takita, who has only been with us for a few months, stepped up to be our temporary manager, interim manager, whatever you want to call him. And he's done a great job. He led us through this whole COVID-19 thing that came down really fast. His leadership skills are great. I mean, the way he turned around the code department, the zoning department before this even, he was a temporary manager. So we asked him, to consider becoming our full-time manager, and he agreed. So we came to an agreement with him, but part of it was he wanted to remain as the building and code director. So this contract with Mr. Takita, his salary is lower. We're saving a lot of money because we have 2 positions are down to 1 position now. I'm sure he's going to do a great job. Is there any questions from board members or comments? Mr. Rocco?
I just echo what you said. I think he's doing a great job. He'll continue to do a great job. The salary, as you also mentioned, when Tom Bennett left, we brought him in for that. And then when Pete left, we just slid him in. So we're saving a ton of money. His annual salary is $160,000. But if you look at the 2 combined salaries prior to that, it's significantly lower. So I'm looking forward to working with Matt in the next few years.
Palmer?
Yeah, I echo both of my colleagues. I believe Matt's a great fit for Falls, very professional, and I think he brings a lot to the table. So I'm looking forward to working with him.
Mr. Galloway?
Yeah, I'd say welcome aboard, Matt, but you've already done such a great job through this whole crisis then. So it's been a pleasure, and I look forward to the years to come. Thank you.
Mr. Boraski?
No, just the same as everybody else. What Matt has done in his short time at Falls is great. He's made an impact and an impression with the township, and looking forward to him getting started in both these positions. After tonight.
And with that, is there a motion to approve the employment agreement with Matt Takita as our township manager / director of building and code enforcement and zoning?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Rocco?
Jeff Boraski?
Mr. Dents, why don't you ask if there's any public comment first?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Kyle, is there any public comment?
No comment.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Go ahead, Mr. Rocco.
Oh my God.
Jeff Boraski?
Yes.
I'm a yes. John Palmer?
Yes.
Brian Galloway?
Yes.
Jeff Dents?
Yes. Congratulations, Mr. Takita. Normally, this is where we would pose for a picture, but due to circumstances, we can take a screenshot.
Thank you very much. Thank you all very much.
It's gonna be good.
That was funny.
Item number 8 is the minutes from May 18th. A lot of stuttering and stumbling, but the minutes look good to me when I reviewed them. Excellent minutes as always, Mrs. Pullen.
No comments from me. They look good.
Anybody else? Comments or questions?
Looks clean.
Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Rocco?
Jeff Paraski?
Yes.
I'm a yes. John Palmer?
Yes.
Ryan Galloway?
Yes.
Jeff Dents?
Yes. All right, Mr. Jones, you're up with the engineer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board members, you will see the month of May's engineers report shows that we had one new land development submission. 261 Lower Morrisville Road is for Marquee Construction, a building addition. We had 2 earth disturbance permit applications submitted, one a residential pool, and one for a stockpile at the Sylvie Yard down on Bristol Pike, parallel to Old 13. With the land developments, as usual, the red indicates the updated project information. I'll point out some more notable points. Campy Components is complete. We recently reviewed and approved their storm, sewer, and stormwater management as-built. So that project is complete and operational. WG Lincoln Properties, there's been some activity since a little bit of relief in working through this COVID-19. So there's been a little bit more activity, not complete activity, but we're getting there. So WG Lincoln, they continue to work on the interior of the building. JG Petrucci Tract is a 225,000 square foot spec building down in the KIPC. They and the KA at Fairless Hills project will both be before the Planning Commission in June next week, while Alrose Steel and the Marquee Construction project that was recently will be before the Planning Commission in July. In terms of the earth disturbance projects that are ongoing, the waste management flare project is substantially complete. What's listed as the Predmore Pool is substantially complete. The Dollar General is an earth disturbance application that was submitted to us for remedial work in the stormwater management basins, and due in large part to the efforts of the Code Enforcement Department, we actually have some pretty good results on the remedial work that's going on. They still have a number of hoops to jump through, but they're in the right direction. In terms of the ongoing township projects, the 2019 road program, which is the recent part of Hedgerow Woods, the Waring course pavement was constructed last week, and that job now moves into the category of substantially complete. We are working on minor punch list items with the contractor, including some sod areas that didn't take, but we're on top of that, and all residents will be satisfied and happy once we're done, which will be very shortly. And for the 2020 road program, our responsible contractor determination will be issued tomorrow, so that the manager can finalize the award. And it's a contractor that's been working in the township for years, so obviously they're gonna meet our criteria. Those are all the updates. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jones. Any questions from Mr. Jones, Mr. Rocco?
I have none. Excellent summary. Thank you.
Mr. Boraski?
No, thank you.
Palmer? Mr. Palmer?
No, I'm good.
Mr. Galloway?
No questions.
All right, I have no questions. Is there a motion to accept the engineer's report as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. I guess, Mr. Rocco, you can pull the board.
Jeff Paraski?
Yes.
I'm a yes. John Palmer?
Yes.
Ryan Galloway?
Yes.
Jeff Dents?
Yes. All right. Agenda item number 10, bill list. This month's bill list is $1,646,844.03. Large part of that, $898,099 is payroll. Any questions or comments on the board list from board members? Mr. Rocco?
I have none. Thank you.
Mr. Palmer?
I have none.
Mr. Galloway?
None.
Mr. Boraski?
No, thank you. I'm good.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the bill list and pay the bills?
So moved.
Second.
All right, Mr. Rocco, can you pull the board?
Jeff Brasky.
Yes.
I'm a yes. John Palmer,
Yes.
Brian Galloway,
Yes.
and Jeff Dents.
Yes. Item 11, we had an executive session. Mr. Clark, can you comment on that?
Yes, Mr. Dents, prior to the meeting, the board held an executive session to discuss various personnel matters.
All right, thank you. Item 11 is manager comment items. Mr. Takita.
Are we skipping the police department report?
I
Or do I have
apologize.
a different agenda?
Yeah, I was on number 11 still, but we can do the police department report real quick. All right, Mr. Chief Wilcox can't be here tonight, but he did send me an email from Chief Wilcox. Multiple officers assisted Philadelphia Police Department, Trenton Police Department, and Bristol Borough Police Department during this time of civil unrest and protests. Our department continues to remain diligent in protecting our community's businesses and the residents it serves during this time of unrest. June 7th, officers and members of our SWAT team responded with the U.S. Marshal's Office to the Red Roof Inn and assisted in arresting a subject wanted for double homicide in Trenton. We continue to still receive supplies and food from the community for our officers. I'd like to again thank the pastors and members of the Faith Baptist Christian Academy for their continuous donation of the coffee and treats for the officers. Our officers have remained healthy, continue to remain healthy, and are still practicing social distancing in accordance with the governor's orders. And that's it for the police report. So now, Mr. Takita, manager comment, if you would.
Yes, we have 3 escrow request releases before the board tonight. One is for Sylvie. It is release of the remaining cash escrow for the building addition, front parking lot driveway, site plan review, and rear driver's lot totaling $11,158.82. We have a release of cash escrow, the remaining cash escrow for premium excavating, for $9,175.17. And then we have a reduction in the letter of credit for St. Joseph's Court, totaling $149,254.98. Based on Jones Engineering Associates inspection of each project, the work has been completed to their satisfaction, and the amounts are recommended for release.
All right, thank you, Mr. Clark. We can do these all at once, correct?
Yes, you can.
All right. Is there a motion to approve all 3 escrow releases?
I move to approve all 3.
I second.
Mr. Rocco.
Jeff Brasky.
Yes.
I'm a yes. John Palmer,
Yes.
Brian Galloway,
Yes.
Jeff Dents.
Yes.
We have 2 other items. One is a new business opened up for the month of May. It was Agostino Foods, 12 Headley Place in Fallsington. That's the sous vide food manufacturer that you had approved the other month. And lastly, the Great Shredder event, June 27, 2020. Falls Township Police Department will hold a Great Shredder event on Saturday, June 27th at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. the front parking lot by the police department. This is a free event, so you can shred all your old documents. 6 bags or per box, and it's limited to one per person. This is open to Falls Township residents only, no businesses. I have nothing else.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Takita. That takes us to board comment. Mr. Rocco.
Just, welcome aboard official, Matt, on your, the township manager. Again, looking forward to working with you over the next few years. I think I have, 3 or 4 years left, something like that. What is our status with the building? We're open by appointment only currently?
Yes, currently we're open by appointment only. We're still encouraging remote meetings with the public, and the staff is in the office for 8 hours a day, working remotely as needed.
Got it. Okay. All right. No, well-run meeting, Mr. Dents. I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Palmer.
I'd just like to welcome Adam on board permanently. And as far as the rest of our workers, I think everybody's stepping up to the plate and doing a good job. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback from people in the community. And just everybody stay safe out there.
Mr. Galloway.
Just wish everybody out there a happy Father's Day. That's all. And have a good night.
Thank you. Mr. Boraski.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. At our meeting last month, May 18th, we approved the separation agreement with Chief Wilcox. Over the last couple of weeks, the board members and some professionals have helped us work through some interviews and candidates in the police department. We did this internally. And at this time, I would like to make a motion to the board to appoint Lieutenant Nelson Whitney as the next Chief of Police, Falls Township. Lieutenant Whitney will become the acting chief on September 1st, 2020, and will become the Chief of Police on January 1st, 2021.
I'll second that.
All right, a motion is made and seconded. Mr. Rocco, can you pull the board?
Jeff Boraski.
Yes.
I'm a yes. John Palmer.
Yes.
Brian Galloway.
Yes.
Jeff Dents.
Yeah. That's all I have tonight, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Yeah, like Mr. Rocco said, we knew Chief Wilcox was leaving. Due to this COVID-19 and these remote meetings, he hasn't, we approved the separation agreement last meeting of his request. He will make a formal announcement of some sort, and we'll recognize him at probably our next in-person meeting. We hired a gentleman to do a search for us for a chief of police. He had several interviews. We advertised internally. We had a chiefs of police board with 3 chiefs from Montgomery County. They were all from Montgomery County, right, Mr. Clark?
That's correct.
They interviewed our candidates, and all 3 of them recommended Lieutenant Whitney, who's going to be a great addition. We look forward to working with him. He's been a Falls Township officer and detective for over 20 years here, so we're sure he'll do a great job. The COVID-19 still has everybody on edge. You see a lot of the stuff that's going on in the country right now. There's never been any threat in Falls Township, no matter what you read on the internet. You hear stories and rumors all the time. There's never been any direct threat of anything. And the latest trend that you're hearing is, I don't know who's spreading these rumors, but they're spreading rumors that the police are being denied at certain local businesses and local establishments. Don't want the police, shopping there. Don't want the police eating lunch there. It's completely 100% false. There's never been an incident in Falls Township where any business has denied anything to the Falls Township police. So, use common sense and don't believe what you read on the internet. I know a lot of local businesses are starting to reopen. It's been tough for them, and it's still tough. A lot of them are offering outside dining the best they can. We've, thanks to Mr. Boraski, he's, started the ball rolling with this expedited process where you can come in, get the permit, and get everything done in the inspection in one day, so you can be operating with the outside seating. Different businesses are doing it different ways, but if you're going to these establishments, please, be patient with them, because this is all new to them and it's just as hard. We've done very well. You see what's going on in the rest of the country, and Pennsylvania is on our way down. Hopefully it doesn't come back like everybody says it's going to. We can just hope for the best, and if everybody just does their part. These businesses that you have to wear a mask to go into, they don't want to force you to do that, and you don't have to give them a hard time either. If that's the way you feel, just shop somewhere else, because they don't need the aggravation. But everybody's doing the best they can, and for the most part, everybody's been very cooperative. I know that this board, we had to make a couple of tough decisions. One being we had to cancel the summer camp for the year. It's just not realistic for us, not only financially, but the county guidelines. We basically, if we can even use a school, which we're not even 100% sure of, we didn't even follow up on it. The ratio of students to counselors would be, we have to hire a lot more staff. The amount of cleaning we would have to do, the fact that no one can come in to visit, that no field trips. It would be the expense would be astronomical for us to increase it or pass it on to the taxpayers, which just isn't fair. And the same goes for the Pinewood Pool. The Pinewood Pool, I think on average, the past 5 years, we have about 275 resident family memberships and about 85 non-resident. Even if we only had it open for Falls Township residents, the guidelines require us sectioning off the pool to family sections that have to be 6 feet apart. So we can only let in the number of people that we have those sections for. So say we have 4 chairs in each section, that's the only number of people we can come in. So they suggested having people come in for a couple hours here, a couple hours there. There's just no way we can do that with 275 family memberships. That's just one of the many guidelines. The fact that we would have to have extra staff to monitor that. They would require us to have people monitoring the bathrooms. We have to pay someone to monitor the bathrooms. Anyone that's not a lifeguard would have to wear a mask, which is crazy at a pool. The amount of chlorine, they want the chlorine between 5 and 8 parts per million. Normally a pool's between 2 and 3. So, you got people burning their, and I'm not making excuses, but that's a lot of chlorine. That's a hot pool. If people with skin problems and such, a hot day, that's a lot of chlorine that we have to put in. So another added expense, and the aggravation, it's just not fair to all the families to have to come to the pool for 2 hours, then leave, or however you would do it. I'm not even sure what other pools are doing. I know Lower Makefield didn't open their pool either. I know a lot of the private pools are open, but they have to open. I mean, they'd go under if they didn't. And it's a tough situation. And I know they were very unpopular choices that we made. But for the most part, I think we're getting through the worst of this. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, Pennsylvania goes green and, we can get as back to normal as we can. Hopefully the kids can go back to school in September. I know it was tough for a lot of people teaching our kids at home. I don't, luckily I might have my son's in college and I didn't have to deal with that, or who knows what would have happened. But welcome, Mr. Takeda, our new manager, officially our new manager. Nelson Whitney will be our next chief. Congratulations to him. And thank you everyone for a good meeting. And hopefully we see everyone in person in July. Happy Father's Day to everyone, all the fathers out there, and everyone have a good night. With that, I want to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Aye.